I love it when you make it bigger, Andy.
I know you do. That's what I love about you. Why? Well, hello, Cheri.
Hi, how are you?
I am excellent. How are you?
I am really tired.
Aw.
I realize that I've been kind of like neglecting some self-care.
I think that's kind of in the air lately. Like just
Yeah.
a few people that I've talked to have just been dragging, and we're kind of feeling moving slower and stuff today. Today I actually did better, but yesterday I was really dragging.
Yeah, I got to be more deliberate about just sleeping and drinking. I feel, should we like introduce the episode and then we'll.
I think we should. We should do that.
All right, your
My
turn.
turn?
Oh,
My okay. Sorry, I got to get ready for the intro.
No.
Mentally. Okay, this is all the stuff that's behind the scenes. Usually people don't see.
Oh, I leave it all in almost.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Okay, here we go.
Well, the thing that everybody doesn't know is that we are often naked together in the mornings.
That's true.
Via selfie. Andy and I take our ugly selfies in the morning and send them to each other very often. So this is nothing new to us.
Except for you have makeup on, and
I have makeup
hair's
on.
done, and I have my glasses on. So
there. So.
Oh, wow. Well, Cheri, have I got the genitals for you?
If you've got an itch, Andy Vargo will scratch it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Scrutiny with Cheri and Andy. I'm Andy Vargo, and this is my amazing friend,
Cheri Hardman.
And we are going to discuss all things life, relationship, fun with our own personal twist of scrutiny. Thanks for joining us, Cheri. You're tired. How you doing other than that?
I'm good. Things are going well, but yeah, I'm realizing I need to be a little more deliberate about taking care of myself. Like I feel guilty when I sleep. And sometimes
I know what you mean.
Like I just need to do that because otherwise I'm useless.
And it's funny. I have that situation with self-care where, we think about doing things for self-care, like doing a pampering day or shopping or those types of things that we need to do. But I think that we forget about the importance of sleep and how really good self-care, and it's one of the most basic things we can do, is just get to bed on time and get a good night's sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I need to eat a little more healthy. I haven't really been eating any, I've been just eating too much fast food and that kind of stuff. And, after a while, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, that adds up.
Yeah.
I've been actually trying to make it through this whole week without buying food out, both for budget and also for just health. And, I had a little snack last night at the club, but it wasn't my main meal. I had my home cooked dinner, and
we only had 2 dinners last night. We didn't have 3.
Right. Yes, we limited it to a normal amount of dinners or just double the regular intake for dinner.
It was discussed, but anyway, go ahead.
And we split one thing. We didn't each have a full helping. So I feel like but I know what you mean. It just catches up with you, that sluggish feeling of all the out eating out.
The other night when was the morning, I was dreaming and I kept telling myself like I need to get up, but my own brain was saying, you really need to sleep. Like it was really like talking to me, not just like, I don't want to get up, but it was like, you need to sleep.
Yeah.
Like I almost called in sick today just to sleep, but I'm trying not to do that either. So
yeah, I actually woke up this morning at 5. Well, because of course I'm like, why am I up? And it's like I texted you, and then I was able to fall back asleep. Part of me was ready to get up because mentally I had some things on my mind that I was ready to work on. But I had a long day today. I had meetings scheduled at 11 and 2 this, and then Toastmasters tonight. So Thursday sometimes is just one of those days where I have things back to back. And I remember just kind of saying, you know what, I need to not add to that by getting started too early. So I was able to fall back asleep, get a couple more hours in.
Yeah, I know I need to deliberately take naps because I'm always been a nap person.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have to try to go all day without a little nap, I can start out really early and end up really late if I have a nap in the middle.
Now, I did get a little nap yesterday because that's something I've learned from you is the importance of a nap. And I've been trying to do that when I know I have the long day and I started early, because otherwise I'm just beat the following day.
Mm-hmm. Well, we were out last night at Nate Jackson's club.
Mm-hmm.
It was a graduation show for the first group of people that took his comedy class. It was a lot of fun. It was interesting to see some new people. I think everybody gave it a pretty good shot.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I see new comedians on stage, I'm always looking at it, and I guess I see this with even other comedians that I see for the first time, but I'm always kind of gauging how I view a few different things. One is their writing ability, and then the other is their confidence and their delivery on stage, because I see people who are brand new and they are super confident on stage, and I think, gosh, if they just get some work done on their writing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they have the confidence and the presence to just do really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see others where they have amazing writing, and I think, I can't wait till they are comfortable on stage because they're really going to rock this set. And
Right. Yeah.
And it's neat to see that with new people where you're just like, oh my gosh, and there were some that had the whole package, and everyone did really well, I thought, in all their own ways.
Yeah, and that was the interesting thing too, is that everybody had a totally different take on stuff. They all had their own little. There wasn't like two that were alike or anything really. So
yeah, and it was neat to see the wide range of things that people joked about. And it was a good reminder for me, because they all did 4 minutes. And it was a good reminder for me to think about how much you can take one topic and just talk about that one thing for 4 minutes and get joke after joke after joke about different angles and takes on it.
Yeah, I'm really feeling like I would like to take that class. It's just not in the cards for me right now.
Yeah,
I guess one of the questions I would have is it gonna, I'm sure it wouldn't, because Nate would be there. Is it gonna hinder me as someone who has a little more experience being with a whole room of newbies? Because sometimes, you know, if they're learning like microphone technique and stuff like that, it's like, you know.
Well, I guess there's two ways I would look at that myself. Is that one, sometimes going back to the basics gives us a chance to just kind of remember, are we doing things that we forget about, or are we developed habits? And then it's also kind of a chance to pay it forward a little bit to being kind of a mentor in the group where you do have more experience. But yeah,
that's funny, because that's part of what I want to talk about today.
Nice. I can't wait.
Okay. Let's play our game. We got to start it right now.
Okay. Oh, we do.
Okay.
Let's talk about the game, and then we got to talk about what we have coming up.
This is experimental, but Andy and I, one of the things that you and I do all the time is we gently nudge each other when we notice the other one's getting a more negative mindset. So we always try to think positively. So just as an exercise for that, and it might be kind of fun too. It'd be more fun if we were taking shots or something. I don't know, if we could work alcohol into this game. But Andy has Toastmasters later, and we don't want him to go to Toastmasters toasted. So we're just gonna. So the point of the game is we're not allowed to use the word no. Now we have to decide: do we want all forms of no, like not and none? Or I don't even know or if we're just going to go with strictly the word no.
Or if it's just anytime something too negative is said, or it implies negativity.
Well, let's
see how it goes.
We'll try all of that, and then we'll just call each other out when we think that the other one's violated.
And if you hear something that we miss, tag it right away in the comments so that you can be part of this experimental game we're playing here. We
might have been playing another better game if I had had enough time to put one together, but
If
this,
either of us would have had time.
this could have been fantastic. So,
Well, that sounded negative.
okay.
So Cheri, what do you have coming up that you want to make sure everybody knows about?
Well, Friday night, I'm doing an online show, a Zoom comedy show, which I haven't done one of those in a hot minute. So I'm kind of looking forward to putting on pajama pants and doing a show. And that'll be good. And then Saturday night, I will be out at, damn it. What's the name of the place? It's out in Port Orchard.
Is this Peninsula Bevco?
Thank you. I knew it was Bevco, but it was like, what? Peninsula Bevco. I've been excited because I've been waiting for this one for a while because we were struggling to find a date that worked for both of us. So
that's exciting to see that come together.
Saturday, I'm excited. Yeah, I've been waiting for that one. And then next week, I'm going to Vegas.
Ooh, that's gonna be fun. What day do you go to? Are we no scrutiny next week then?
Oh, look what you just said. Mm-hmm. We will be scrutiny free next week. Yeah, because I will be flying at the actual, or I'll be at the airport.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get better at this game. Okay, so stop yawning.
Yeah, and then I know, I'm sorry, I told you I was tired. And then the 22nd, 23rd, I'll be at Joker's. Oh, no, the 18th, Odd Otter. So we had to change the day for Odd Otter. Did I say the N word? Oh, not that N word. The N-O word. Oh, no. Oh,
This
no.
is gonna get bad. And we're not even drinking.
So we're definitely doing the comedy show on the 18th at Odd Otter.
Instead of the end of the month, because
Instead of
there
the
is a
25th.
Seahawks game on the night we would traditionally have it. So that night will be comedy free. It'll be a Seahawks
I'm
game.
glad that I don't know whose brilliant idea, if it was yours. Or mine.
We discussed, I think you asked if there were football games going on.
Yeah, so I'm glad you looked it up, and then we could, that will also change the date of our November show too.
Yes.
So,
but you have plenty of time to plan ahead and be in the right place for those shows, which are going to be fun.
yeah. So what about you? What do you have going on?
I am putting together a mastermind, which I'm going to start in October for entrepreneurs. And that you can find in my online Facebook group, which is Own Your Entrepreneurship. If you don't see it, it's a public, you can find it. You just have to be,
What's a mastermind?
So mastermind it's kind of like, it's a group where we come together and we talk and we focus on certain things. It's kind of like taking a class, only the group, everyone participates and brings their ideas together. So this is all going to be focused on entrepreneurship. The Own Your Entrepreneurship group is really focused on being an entrepreneur, but in a way that's different than what you see a lot of times. A lot of times I feel like when people talk about being an entrepreneur, they get into this canned, you got to do this, you got to get up at 5 a.m. These are the things you got to hit it hard. And people almost sound the same when they're saying the same things to you. I like to approach it with owning your entrepreneurship. It's about bringing your style to how you are an entrepreneur and including that in your life. How do you balance being your own person, being, maybe a mother, a husband, a father, having a day job? How do you balance that with what you're trying to do as an entrepreneur and still move your business forward without losing focus or getting discouraged? So each week we will talk on a different topic and bring everybody's viewpoints and ideas in. And sometimes it might be, hey, I'm really struggling with how to market myself on social media, or finding customers. Where can I find customers outside of the same places? And then we will talk and bring those ideas in from everybody in the group and really be there to support each other. So I'm gonna start doing that every week. Oh. And the info will be in the Facebook group, and it will be via Zoom, and they will be recorded so you can come back and watch them if you miss them. But it's going to be an ongoing thing. I'm going to do it at least for 2 months and then determine from there how often and regularly, but I plan on it being a pretty regular thing.
Fantastic.
Anyway, so hit me up for information on that. It's, it's great for people who are promoting themselves. If you're a comedian, and people have to remember that if you are an entertainer, that is a business. And if you are starting your own business, whatever it is, it's all the same types of issues in different wrapping.
Well, that's cool.
Anyway, thank you for that brief infomercial.
Yeah. All right.
So we got topics today. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
Well, I don't know what yours is. So since you know what mine is and you know what yours is, why don't you decide which one you think should go first? And
Oh
which
my gosh. Why don't you go first?
Okay.
Because mine might be an interesting play off of yours.
Okay. All right. Well, I wanted to do support because I feel that sometimes, like as entertainers, you have to rely on people that you know for support. Like if you're in a contest.
Yeah.
And when you first start, you get a lot of support from your family and your friends, and everybody goes all the time. And then after a while, it's like pulling teeth to get anyone to attend anything. And so sometimes that's a little bit discouraging, or you could feel like maybe nobody's supporting you.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to look into that, and I found a really great article about it today, and I wanted to share some things that I read about it.
Okay.
So I'm going to kind of like look at it right now, but
I can definitely relate to that, because I know when you start, you're really excited, and so you're putting it all out there and sharing it with everybody, and then you do start to, at least for me, it was like, okay, am I less funny? Are they just tired of my jokes, or have I used up all of my come see me cards?
Right. And I think, well, okay. So first of all, I just want to say, like, without being specifically about comedy, the first thing they said is like, first of all, like, well, I looked up the definition for the word support,
Mm-hmm.
and it said to bear all or part of the weight, to hold up. And I'm like, well, when I think like I want my friends to support, I don't even really feel like I want them to hold any of the weight. I just want them to be there at my side while I'm doing something,
Yeah.
But they're saying there's a difference between people who are actively like knocking your dreams down against people who you just maybe don't feel unsupportive. Are they neutral? Are they discouraging you? Or are they just kind of neutral?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. And so then people that are just kind of being neutral or not really doing what you want, they have their all. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's their intention. It doesn't mean that they're going, oh, Cheri and Andy suck. I don't want to go see them anymore. I've been to enough. It just might be she's got her own thing. She's having a fight with her boyfriend, or, they don't have a babysitter anymore, or whatever. They've started their own business. They're tired. They're this, they're that. There are a million reasons why people just don't go out in the evenings.
And I have to say, like, I often feel bad about the level of support I'm able to give my friends, because I have so many friends that are entrepreneurs and artists and comedians, and they're all doing so many great things all the time, and I want to be at all the things. I just can't, because I also have a day job and I have my things. And so at the same moment that I want them to come to my things, I can't hold any angst against them when I can't go to all of their things.
Right. And I thought about that too. And this article does mention that. It's like, what do your friends need as support from you? And are you doing that for them?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe them liking your posts is the most support they can really give. And that maybe I can look at that, or we can look at that as, oh, they are showing their support.
Yeah.
But that's, as far as their life is allowing them to do so. And the other thing is like and I'm just going to say this for new comedians, that when you first start out, I mean, you're excited, you want to bring people, but don't keep inviting people to the open mics, because the open mics, they seem fun to you right now, but they're actually god awful most of the time. And it's really
I remember doing that. I remember being like, oh, I got like 10 people to come to the open mic.
Right. I mean, and I shouldn't say that. And it's like there are comedy producers that would not be happy with me saying that right now. But save your friends for the real shows, like when you really get booked.
Yeah, but as a new comedian, also, that's when you're most enthusiastic to get people to come out. And unfortunately,
that's all you have
before you get booked, and that might be all you have.
Right.
So,
yeah, so invite them once or twice and then just work on practicing stuff yourself.
And also encourage your friends to not leave as soon as your set's over.
Oh, big. Yeah. We're there to, I feel like we're there to support everybody, you know.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. Okay, so I think we've already said no and don't and not and all the words we're not supposed to say. So I don't know, we might have to just
especially in this topic.
Yeah. But I think about this a lot because I have friends, co-workers, and family members who 6 years in have never come to see me once. And that's a little hurtful, to be honest, you know.
Well,
but
I do know, depending on your friends, and you would know this based on how well you know your friends, some people don't like what could be said at a comedy club and are just afraid to go. You know, that might just, that's why my parents don't come to my shows. They're not into a lot of the stuff that would be said at a comedy show. I invited them when I did the Wholesome Ha-Has at that Rachel was putting on, where it was in a church, and I knew it would all be clean comedy, because even if I know I'm going to have a clean set, they're going to hear some pretty vulgar stuff.
Right. So there's that. But one thing that it says, so to one way to like help with these kind of issues is to, like, first of all, like, identify what your support needs are. Okay. You know, do you just need moral support? Do you need physical support? Like, you want people's actual physical presence? Do you need emotional support? Like people just to sympathize and listen to you vent about it? Do you need intellectual support, like ideas? Or do you need like resource support, like rides or money or whatever? And so that will kind of, once you kind of like answer that for yourself, like, what is it that you really need? Then just assume that your friends and family can't provide those for you. What are the ways that you can provide those for yourself?
That's a good take. And I would say too, there's much difference in saying, oh, friends, I need your support, I need this and I need that, versus saying, I need this help right now, or I need, like when you needed support in Austin and everybody was like, let's get Cheri home, you know. Or like with the Comedy Voice, where I posted, friends, I need votes. This is a specific show. I need butts in the seats and I need votes in order to advance. And I was able to put that out there versus just saying, come laugh at my jokes at this comedy show. I think when we can be specific in what we need, then people can connect a lot easier and know, wait, they're relying on someone to help them with that, and I could be that person. Or if I can't, maybe I can connect them with someone who can.
Right, and that's kind of what where I'm going with this is, like, if you just need emotional support, well, maybe you can form like a little group or find a partner in comedy where you guys can support each other and talk about things and all that kind of stuff.
That's what I'm looking for right now.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like, well, I read one of I don't know if you saw this the other day, but I have posted a memory on Facebook, and it was about when I worked at Joker's with Stephen Michael Quezada from Breaking Bad.
I don't think I saw that.
And I remember how he just spent the whole weekend giving me advice and just really nurturing me and cultivating me and really just treating me like an equal, but also sharing his wisdom. And I was so touched by it. And I even like kind of got misty when I read it, because I wrote and I said, when I'm the comedian that's more on top. I want to do this for the people that are below me.
Yeah. Now
And I feel pretty proud of myself that I do try to do that a lot.
Yeah, and I was going to say, when you started talking about support and going to shows, more than anyone I know, you are the person who goes and supports other comedians, especially the people that you're close with, where you are at every show you can get to support them and be there in that way. And I don't remember seeing that post in the last few days, but I do remember when that originally happened, because I remember you talking about it and sharing some of the things that he talked to you about.
And so that, that's kind of like, that's what Nate is trying to do, is foster that environment of comedians helping each other and being supportive of each other. But, I got to also admit too, that that's part of the reason that I'm tired, is that I've been giving to other people and that's kind of been taking from myself. Yeah. So that's also another good lesson to learn, is like, maybe sometimes the support you need is from yourself, to just take care of yourself and go take a freaking nap. But,
right.
But you could also like just talk to, if there's like people that really you need their support and it's hurting you, that you're not getting that support, you could have a heart-to-heart talk with them. And that's where I'm not comfortable with that at all. Like, it really hurts my feelings that you've never come to one of my shows. I would never do that.
Well, and I think it's important to be aware of how much we're asking for support. Like, because there's a difference in someone never coming to a show and then being disappointed if someone doesn't always come to a show. Right. That's a big stretch. But I think I know people in my life, and I've had friends like this, where there is always a need, and one day it's bus fare, one day it's a ride, one day it's,
for sure. Yeah.
Or they're continually starting a new venture, and you do kind of burn out the support you can get when it's always I'm opening a new business every other month. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's on us to be aware of what we do need for support and how much we're asking for support, and making sure that we are spreading that around, and are we giving a realistic amount of support to others compared to what we're expecting to bring in. Right.
And that's another thing that I've realized, that like, I have had to stop and think, like, okay, let's think of, because, I hung out with a totally different crowd of people when I started comedy than I do now. Like, all my regular friends have pretty much dropped out of my life, not by design, but they just were not doing the same thing. So,
yeah. Well, and that's touches on what my topic that I want to talk about later is similar to that.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought this could roll into that.
Right. Well, so that just makes me think, like, okay, like, because then you wonder, like, is it just because you're running in different circles, or have you done something to hurt or offend them? So I do stop and reflect, and then I think, okay, I think of a certain person, and then I think, okay, have I been supportive of them in their life? Right. And sometimes I can't like go to every Tupperware party you have or whatever it is, I just can't do that. But I will, like, I'll have an online party every now and then for somebody or something like that, and feel like, okay, there, I did my duty. I supported you, but so right. I don't know. I think if someone is like actively like shitting on your dreams and stuff, that's just a person you need to get rid of. Yeah. This isn't what I'm talking about at all. I'm just talking about that feeling a little bit unsupported. I think it does help to stop and think, like, what exactly do you need? What kind of support do you exactly need? And is there ways that you can give that to yourself, or find how to get it? Because you can't make anybody do anything, right?
Right. And I think that, like you're saying, just being very aware of it, and being aware of what's realistic. Because one of the things that I found is our biggest disappointments in life come from, disappointments are really the difference between our expectations and what happens.
Right.
And if we expect someone's going to come to every single show that we ever put on, and then no one ever comes, well, there's a huge disappointment. If we expect that some people can make it when they can, there's a lot less disappointment there when they don't show up. And if we don't expect anyone to ever make it, then it's a nice surprise when people show up, and we're just like, wow. And not that you need to lower the bar that far. However, we do need to have realistic expectations of things.
Right. And let me just say this, because when you do comedy, sometimes you go to do a show and it's not going to be that great, right? Now, I promote all my shows that I'm on, whether I think they're going to be great or not. But if I think a show is going to be extra great, then I might be more likely to send private messages like, this is one you should really see. Yeah. Or I'm going to be, or send an email, I'm going to be in your neighborhood. This is a really good show. You probably might want to come, Well,
and that was one thing that when you posted that on Facebook, because you asked about support today, kind of just to pull people getting ready for this. And I really had to put a lot of thought into it, because I thought, theoretically, I had a lot more people show up at first, but I also asked a lot of people directly to come to shows more often than I do now. Now, when I have a show, it's a lot more of a, hey, here's my show. Whoever can make it, I hope to see you there. And I'm not sending people as many direct messages saying,
oh, for sure. Yeah.
And part of that, I think that also plays into how many people show up, because if you personally invite somebody, then they're like, oh, Cheri wants me to be at this show, versus, oh, I saw you were doing that. I don't think people read into as much of oh, they'd really like me to be there. They don't realize how much that means. But for my own self-respect, I've had to put boundaries on when I'm begging for attention from people. And that's outside of just comedy. It's even how much I reach out to people that are friends. It's like, if I'm not going to reach out over and over again if the balance isn't there.
Right.
So I think there is that, but there's also a level of your, like, for me, I look at it like my friends were there to support me, and family was there to get me off the ground in comedy until I could kind of stand on my own. So until I was comfortable being in a room where if people didn't show up, I could handle it. Or if maybe even to where you're big enough now, like where you are, where fans come that aren't even necessarily your friends, but they saw you on a flyer. So you're filling the room, but not necessarily with people who are coming just to support you. They're coming.
And you know what somebody said today too? It's like, well, my friends and family are not my target audience. And I'm like, ooh, that's a good way to look at it. And I mean, and I didn't even I brought this topic up as far as comedians go because I'm a comedian, but this can go for any other thing in your life, that you feel unsupported in or whatever.
Well, how often do people start different businesses or making things from scratch and selling them? And, the first round of orders come in and that's great. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now, I mean, I see this with book sales where it's like, okay, the first time I release a book, there's a, everybody buys a copy. And then the next time it's like, well, this one's actually the better book and I'm selling less, but this one means more to me,
Well, that's the thing too, is because I think like in my case, I said 27 people came to the first show I ever did, but nobody came to the last one. And the funny thing is that I'm way better now.
Right.
Yeah. Guys, though, you guys bailed out too soon, but that's okay. I'm cool. All right, what do you want to talk about?
Well, it kind of ties into this because you were mentioning how, those friends that you don't hang out with anymore since you started doing comedy and how your dynamic switched. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was when relationships change and how we handle that, because inevitably dynamics in a relationship change and we are no longer friends with the same people we were, or we're friends, but we don't talk every day like we used to. And when you step back from either side, it's really easy to just get very hurt by that, or to feel left behind, or like, well, they're too busy for me now. But sometimes I'm too busy for them too, because I have some friends where we never seem to be able to connect. When we do, it's great. We catch up on all these old times. But I sit back and I think, how come we don't have coffee once a week anymore? How come we don't, talk every day? Or how come, I'm slow to respond to their texts and they're slow to respond to mine? And I think that, I started kind of writing this poem because I'm working on a book about relationship changes in general, especially about love relationship changes, but it transfers into any type of relationship we have. And I like to think, relationships are nurtured by what we have in common. And you might still have something in common with somebody. So I think your instinct is to say, well, we still have this in common. So how come we're not, firing on all cylinders? But sometimes that thing that you have in common becomes more important at different times in your life. So, when I was first coming out of the closet, I had a couple friends that were also doing the same thing. So that was really close and near and dear to both of us at the same time. Or when we were raising kids and our kids were younger and in school together, then that kept us all seeing each other all the time. Or when we worked together, we had that in common. And so each of those things has you interacting a lot, but then as those dynamics change, we forget that there's not room for everybody in our day all the time that has ever been in our day. And so
right.
I was just putting some thought around that. Wanted to put that out there and see what your thoughts were on that.
I know. Well, I feel bad. Well, okay. I noticed that, like, say you work with somebody every day and you guys get to be really good friends, and you're always like thinking like, oh, when, if one of us ever gets another job, we'll still be friends, and you will be, but typically it dwindles and it changes,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean you love that person any less. You just don't have those moments where you're thinking about the same thing all the time. And then after it's been a year, she's talking about Betty from the office. Well, Betty wasn't working there when you were there. So
right.
It doesn't mean anything to you. And and it happens.
Yeah. Well, it's like one of my good friends is that same scenario where we worked together side by side every day. We had the same tyrant of a boss. And so we kind of went through that traumatic time frame, and we both
Bonding,
worked there for the same length. And now, we text every couple months and we grab lunch 2 or 3 times a year and catch up. And every once in a while we'll do something outside of that. But it's always great to catch up. I don't feel any less close to that person other than there's less interaction. And, he came to the Voice the last night and brought, 10 other people because it was wife and friends and all their kids. And so, it's like, as far as on the surface, I could look at it and go, gosh, we used to be really close. We used to talk 4 times a day, but that's what was needed back then. And we don't need that level of support from each other.
Right.
And that's okay, because we both know that, accept it, and don't sit at home going, oh my God, I can't believe Andy doesn't ever call me anymore.
Right.
It's always like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been 3 months. How are you? And then we talk for an hour and a half,
Right. I know sometimes I find, like, sometimes I'll think like when you weren't doing comedy very much at all. And I'm like, oh, Andy's not doing comedy. We're going to like drift apart, and I'm going to really miss him. And I'm like, maybe I should just keep trying to talk him into doing comedy stuff. And then I was like, no, I can't do that, because I want him to do what his dream is and what his goal is. But then I just kept thinking, I think that we could work, we're not at cross purposes here. That's when I brought up the scrutiny thing. I'm like, this could serve both of us well in what we're trying to accomplish,
Yeah.
And so I was glad when because I thought about it for a long time. I know I hinted a couple times, and finally I said something to you one day, and you're like, sure. And I'm like, oh, sweet,
Well, because we were like we would do things, and I love when you make the comment about, well, that's kind of off brand for you, or and it's like, okay, how do we marry those together? And that's, but I think when you have the right connection, it transcends that kind of stuff.
I'm using my little elliptical thing here, and I'm thinking, hey, maybe this is how we can get viewers, is maybe I could just wear a better shirt and sit on a higher chair and then just pedal the whole time.
And my head will just be like this. Because I could get one. I got some man boobies. I could get one, and then they'll just be jiggling too.
We could call it Jiggles and Giggles.
Yes, we could. We could have a special episode.
That's funny.
That is Jiggles and Giggles. That sounds like a strip club.
I know it does. A comedy strip club. There we go.
Oh my gosh, that would be
like Joker's in Richland, which is like a comedy club, a casino, and a bowling alley.
Okay,
But
right.
Jiggles and Giggles would be a strip club on one side and a comedy club on the other.
Well, why couldn't we just strip while we do comedy?
Well, we could do that. Well,
Just have it
that
all in one.
stripping would be comedy, but I don't think anybody would come. I mean, show up. You and I had the best laugh the other night. I still think about that. Did I tell you that I told my friend about that?
I'm trying to remember what even sparked that. It was hilarious. I remember laughing our asses off.
It's because we were talking, and I don't want to like offend or hurt anybody's feelings, but I had looked at my Facebook page, and one of my friends was dealing with some dementia problems with her mom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of like went, oh, and then I was telling you a little bit about it, but then I wanted to look something up. I wanted to Google something about it. And then every time I go to like talk into my phone to ask a question about it, I couldn't remember the word dementia, which is hilarious. I'm sorry.
No, because it was like you kept starting and it was like, how did
and I really like couldn't remember. And then, oh, we'd laugh so hard. Like, oh, we were bent over. My stomach hurt, my face hurt, my cheeks hurt. And then I'm like, shut up, let me do it again. And then it would happen again. It was so funny.
It was fun. I know. And it was yeah, it was one of those, like you mentioned, it would have been awesome to have that on camera because oh my God. It's funny. And we were just in the middle of the lobby at Odd Otter. We were just like parked there, like
yeah, that was
trying to decide something. People were probably
made me think of something I need to write down, and then I forgot by the time I got the pen, leaned over.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
And we were talking about that.
Needing to write something down.
We were laughing in the lobby.
You were hurt at Odd Otter. Is it a date you need to write down? Is it related to Odd Otter comedy? No,
I lost it.
Well, maybe you can watch this.
Oh, wait, then I thought of something. It was something I've been wanting to tell you, but I didn't want to tell you right now. Okay, I got it.
This is how it goes, folks. Welcome to the show.
Well,
Cheri taking notes on things you can't hear.
The older I get, it's harder to remember stuff. And,
oh my God.
When I was younger, I'd just go, oh, give me a minute and it'll come to me. And now it doesn't happen like that.
No, I know. I've had to be really careful lately because I've actually been on a better roll with thinking of some new jokes because my goal for 2020 was to focus on clean writing with my comedy. And then when comedy went a little sideways, I just had that take a back seat and I focused on writing and branding. And I'm glad I did that because I wasn't focused hardcore enough on comedy to make that the Zoom thing that I was doing all the time. And also I wanted to leave that space for people who that was a bigger focus for. However, that was with this contest when all of a sudden I'm in this contest in a time when I was already trying to shift gears and I hadn't spent time writing new material because my new material was going to be starting back at the, build it back up from a whole new voice essentially. Right. So I've had to get back to that mindset of, oh, a joke comes to mind, I got to like text it or write it down or something, which is why I keep pinging you with this. Isn't this funny? And you're like, yeah, nice try.
We talk so much though that sometimes I use like our chats to look something up, but we talk so much. I know. Like earlier today, I looked for a flyer that I sent you, like scrolling, and it was just yesterday.
Well, though, that if you go to our chat, you can hit media and just look at the pictures.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I do now.
It'll say, because I used to scroll and then I found that on accident one time. I'll show you later.
Can I look for like a word in particular?
You can also search. Yeah, you can hit search conversation. You just type in a word. It's amazing.
Time saver.
Yes. So anyway, that's that. And I have to say, apparently today is National Orange Shirt Day, or it's Orange Shirt Day.
Oh.
Now, I did not know this was a thing, and I looked it up. I tried to look it up, and I started to see there's like some remembrance of something in Canada that's in reference to. But I wore an orange shirt, that's what I put on today, just for no reason.
Not on purpose.
And then halfway through the day, I saw someone post, I'm glad to see people wearing, their orange for Orange Shirt Day. And then I'm like, oh crap, am I making a political statement and I don't know it? Like I don't know. And I didn't have time because I just saw that right before we hopped on. So I still don't know if I'm making a statement. I didn't mean to. I'm not anti anything. I'm not pro anything. I just want to wear an orange shirt.
Oh, that's interesting. We'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, no scrutiny next week.
Oh,
So we'll be back on the 14th.
we will.
Oh, that seems so far away.
Oh yeah, because that's the 7th already. Wow, the 14th.
What am I going to do in Vegas without you?
I don't know. Maybe I'll win the lotto between now and then and I'll fly down and surprise you.
I'm going to hang out with T-Mont one night.
Nice. That'll be fun.
And I'm going to hang out with Kirk one night.
Nice. That'll be fun.
Do karaoke. So
very cool.
Yeah, so I'll have fun. It'll be good. It's just a weekend. I'll be back before you know it.
Yes, I'll miss you. I'm glad that Messenger follows you everywhere.
Yeah, doesn't it though? All right, well, we're good. It's 4:47. We made it within the allotted period. Thank you.
See you later.
Will talk to you in a minute. I'll see everybody else later.
Okay, bye-bye.
We need to have like a little line that we say at the end, like.
I hope you enjoyed our twisted brand of scrutiny. No, well, a better line than that.
All right, bye.
I'm not supposed to talk without Cheri's approval.
You know, I do it like I'm the queen. It's like, I deem that unworthy.
That's going to be your thing. I deem that unworthy. I'll try harder next time.